Have You Seen is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
What to do?
I was just thinking. I just forgot what I was thinking.
Oh, Ryan. So, I was in nutrition class the other day, and then Nick comes up to me, and you know what he says? He tells me he's high. So, I'm completely baffled that not only the fact that you would tell me he's high.
Nick Cage looks like that one asshole substitute teacher.
So I'm like, okay,
Like,
whatever.
dude, I definitely wouldn't let Nicolas Cage do my taxes.
After we finish cooking, he starts to pull out his phone. And you know what he starts watching? Freaking Cheech and Chong. Freaking Cheech and Chong. My God, like next thing you know, he's gonna start watching Reefer Madness or something like that. Like, right, Ryan?
What?
I mean, next thing you know, he's gonna start watching Reefer Madness. Right, Ryan?
What?
Reefer Madness is a movie released in 1936 and honestly the worst thing to ever happen to that year. Second only to Adolf Hitler, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Financed by a church group, as that's how all these stories start, Reefer Madness begins with the foreword telling us how awful marijuana is, that it is a violent narcotic and the real public enemy. The message didn't really get to me though. Honestly, I was too busy wondering if the writer had a thesaurus to use words like equivocate, ghastly, and monstrous extravagance. But once they start introducing dialogue is when we find out how awful the message really is.
The sale of marijuana is even more difficult to detect and halt than the traffic in drugs such as opium, morphine, and heroin. They are hidden in fake jewelry cases, in the heels of shoes, women's shoes especially, because the drugs can be secreted in false heels. Hollowed shaving brushes are another medium. Books with false centers are often used. Watch cases are convenient hiding places. Recently, a huge supply of heroin was taken. It was concealed in an apparently harmless shipment of 35 barrels of olive oil. And more vicious, more deadly, even than these soul-destroying drugs, is the menace of marijuana.
This is Reefer Madness, and so far you're given the impression that the writers were as high as freaking Bob Marley rather than feeling a sense of duty to stop marijuana. After his, well, oration, the man then tells a story, which is what is shown for the remainder of the movie. He actually says that we may believe that these facts might be exaggerated. I'll get to the story part in a bit, but first let me get a few problems out of the way. First, the acting is terrible even for 1930 standards. I mean, I don't expect Marlon Brando acting during this time period, but these actors could try even a little bit to be engaging. They also make no clear physical distinction between marijuana and cigarettes, making certain scenes really confusing. And the characters are so one-dimensional and indistinguishable that I felt actually racist because they all started to look the same to me. This is most evident in the party scenes. See, a group of drug dealers would invite high school students where they would give them the marijuana. And let me say, these parties look fun. There are people dancing worse than the Muppets both when high and sober. People are laughing and having a good time. It really gets you wanting to do the drugs. But these scenes also highlight just how soulless these characters are and how incomprehensible the filmmakers understand drugs. I mean, I'm not an expert nor have taken any drugs, but I'm pretty sure marijuana doesn't make you into a violent rapist, visibly insane, or my personal favorite, a psycho who kills their entire family with an axe. And yes, all of these are actual claims made by the movie. I would probably be offended at Reefer Madness for their shallow, propagandized nature, but frankly, Reefer Madness does more for marijuana than it does against it. Besides the obvious killing and raping, everything else is ironically positive. I already mentioned the party scenes, but what there also is the fact that everyone has a lot more personality after they get high, making them more engaging and thus more likable. There are shots meant to induce arousal from the viewer, and the film ends with drug dealers getting arrested not for possession of pot, but for killing someone and then framing a kid who was high. Any other attempt to make marijuana look bad is done through scapegoat dialogue that has no staying power whatsoever. Even God's Not Dead, God forbid, was able to make atheists look bad by having atheists be douchebags, but here they somehow managed to put marijuana at an even gray. I left this film not repulsed by the message, but more uncertain if the film was even good at being propaganda. Reefer Madness is just a mess that people consider today as a symbol for pro-marijuana usage, and that to me marks Reefer Madness as an absolute failure, in both as a film and as a propaganda piece. So tell your children to go see Reefer Madness, as they will truly see what botched filmmaking really is.
And that's Reefer Madness. What'd you think? Ryan, are you smoking marijuana?
Nah, man, this is tobacco.
Well then that's okay. Hey, I don't see any tobacco. Are you just smoking a piece of paper, Ryan?
Saw, dude.
Oh, Ryan, back at it again.